Well, hey, you are watching the video version of the Marketing Should Be Fun podcast. It's so good to have you here. You can find this show on any of your favorite podcast platforms. There's the art, looks like that. You got Apple Podcasts, you got Spotify, you got all the rest. Anywhere you want to find it, you can check it out. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Well, hello and welcome back to Marketing Should Be Fun. My name is Austin Savage, and it is just me on today's episode. Kelsey isn't able to be here for this one. The summer is a little bit different around here at Savage Content Collective, a little more free-flowing, and we like it that way. And so, anyways, we wanted to share just some new content with you anyways, and I have a quick story to share with you and a few principles, and it's going to be a good one. So normally, as you guys know, we always like to start a lot of our episodes off with a this or that segment. And so since Kelsey isn't here, in lieu of doing a segment like that, I just want to say that I hope that you are having a great summer. This summer has been a little bit crazy for my family. We've been trying to move, and there have been a lot of roadblocks and just kind of some, crazy things coming up in our life. But at the same time, we've gotten to go to the pool like so much with our kids. And one of our favorite things about the summer is that I like to call them beach days. We pretend like our backyard is a beach. We put out 2 kiddie pools. We bring over this little like jungle gym, so it has a slide down into the pool, into the kiddie pool. And our kids love it. My dogs love it. I love it. And we've been able to do that a lot, even despite the craziness. And so whatever it is, whatever your life looks like, I hope that you've just been able to have a good summer, enjoy your family and those you love, and just enjoy life. So anyways, I want to keep today's episode fairly short. And like I mentioned, I have a quick story from one of our clients that'll lead into just a few principles that I want to share with you today. So here is that story. So we started working with one of our clients towards the beginning of this year. So they started with us, I want to say it was in January. It doesn't totally matter, but we've been working with them for about 6-7 months currently. And they are a fairly small kind of nonprofit organization down in Texas. And they were looking to just kind of stay consistent, right? They wanted to keep social media off their plate. They were looking for someone to kind of help them stay consistent with that aspect of their organization. And ultimately, we were able to come in and support them. And here's what the last 6 or 7 months have looked like. We've posted 3 to 4 times each week for them over the past 6 to 7 months. And they started with, fairly small following. I'd say around 300 or 400 followers. I think over the last 6 to 7 months, that went up to maybe 600 to 700. And it was pretty slow and steady, right? They would post something, they might get 20 to 40 likes on a post. And, they were just kind of staying consistent, right? They were running their train forward. And they did a really great job of being okay with those results, right? Through those 6 or 7 months, right? As they were seeing, in January, they had posts that had 20 to 30 likes. And in July, they had posts that had 20 to 30 likes. And it was all to them. They understood the importance of consistency and steadiness. So recently, that client just doubled their follower count. And I want to tell you how. So the work that this nonprofit does is in line with a lot of kind of social issues that come up today. Their work intertwines with aspects of politics, aspects of faith, aspects of personal passion, all of these things. They work together to create the work that this nonprofit does. And there have been some events in our world this year that have kind of ramped up interest in the work that they do. And as interest in their work kind of generally started to ramp up, they made one post that just kind of illustrated the need for the work they do, coupled with how they do it and how people can join them. And it was really interesting because the post that they made was actually like pretty actionable. It was like, hey, we need $15,000 to be able to make this happen. And here's how you can partner with us to do that. And as of last night, that post has had 900 likes, 728 shares, 288 saves, and nearly like 7,000 accounts reached. It's been really, really cool to see. And that post has led to nearly doubling their follower count as they're kind of inching closer and closer to 2,000 followers now. But here's the interesting thing that we saw. That post is what brought awareness. As I mentioned, it's been shared 728 times. So on Instagram, what that means is, that it has been either sent in a message or shared to a story 728 times. And so this message connected, and it just opened kind of the floodgates for people to come in and learn about the work that this nonprofit does. But here's the cool thing, is that people didn't just look at that post and say, great, okay, I like what this organization is about. I'm going to stick around. No, we saw so many people go back through old content like that, engage with it, learn more about the work that this nonprofit does before they committed to sticking around and hanging out. So we saw people see this post, like it, then go back through their feed to see what else this organization does and really learn what they're all about. And so it would have been easy for this nonprofit over the course of these past 6 or 7 months, and even longer before they were working with us doing their own social, for them to be discouraged, right? They only saw 20, 30, 40 likes. And in comparison, that could feel discouraging to them to really feel like, is this really worth it? But because they were consistent, people were more likely to stick around when a post did really, really, really connect with a large group of people, that they earned the trust of the people who were interested in what they do. That it wasn't just a one and done type thing where it's like, oh, this organization's just about asking me for money or doing this kind of thing. Instead, they could see that and say, whoa, this is really interesting. I'm curious, what this is all about. And they're seeing posts from last week where this organization is doing the work that they do, where they're seeing posts from the previous week where this organization is doing what they say that they do, where they're seeing posts from 6 months ago where this organization is doing what they say that they do. And that consistency lays the foundation of trust for all of these people who decided to stick around. This is a really cool story for, one of our clients recently. But this isn't the first time we've seen that. We have seen the exact same thing with some of our other clients. I mean, we have one client who sells hair products, and she came to us around 4,000 followers, and she stayed consistent with producing a lot of reels for her audience. And it was really cool. I mean, she would have reels that would connect. They might get, 300, 400, 500 likes that she was just staying consistent with and, really being steady. And she had one reel that took off. She went from 4,000 followers to like 12,000 followers in a day. And it was the craziest thing. But we saw the same thing with her, is when people came, they didn't just stop there. They went back and looked at other content. They, learned more about what she was about. They saw her consistency and decided to stick around. And so her consistency through the quote unquote smaller days of her audience led to people being willing to stick around, which opened the door for a larger audience. We saw the same thing with another one of our clients who focuses on health and fitness. She came to us and she had a great social platform, but just didn't have the consistency that she was wanting. And it was interesting because she had created some content that had connected in the past that just hadn't led to like a lot of people sticking around. It had led to a lot of eyeballs, but not people sticking around. And once we started prioritizing consistency and posting that, 3 to 4 times a week and just being consistent with her audience of this is, what you can expect. We're going to do this every single week and, just continually show up for you. She saw more people stick around when her content really connected. And it was the same thing for her. She had about, 2,000 to 3,000 followers. She now has 12,000. And that happened again through the same way. She had a reel that connected. People looked back through her old content and then they decided to stick around. So 4 principles that I want to share with you that this kind of sparks for me. The first one is that consistency matters. We've talked about this a ton. I talk about it on my YouTube channel. We've talked about it on the podcast. We say consistency all the time, but this is exactly why. Consistency matters, full stop, period, in the end. While you're being consistent, you are building trust with the people who are already in your community. They are seeing you show up. They are understanding that they can trust you, that you have value to bring, and it matters deeply to those relational connections that you're building. But it also provides a foundation of trust for people who learn about you. It communicates something different to people when they come to your account and they see posts from last week or from 1 month ago, from 2 months ago, and not one post and then a post from 7 months ago than a post from a year ago. It communicates something different to them, and it communicates that you are consistent and they can trust you. You have value to bring to their lives. Consistency matters. The second principle it brings to mind for me is that content marketing is typically slow and steady growth, but you are not guaranteed that. And this is what's so exciting to me about content marketing. We talk about it all the time, that content performs on a human level. And this is an example of that. With all of these clients that I highlighted, but specifically that nonprofit in Texas, they had a post that connected with people on a human level, so much so that 700 people were willing to share it. And that's exciting. They wouldn't have expected that to happen, that morning before they made the post. But that's why you have to be prepared for that, right? You have to be ready and laying the foundation for people to learn about you, for more awareness to build at any time, because content performs on a human level. The third principle is that you should treat 400 followers the same way you would treat 4,000 followers. I see this a lot to work with clients, but also like on a lot of our discovery calls is, people undermine the value of their audience a lot on social. They'll look at it and say like, oh, well, it's really not very big, or, I don't really have very many people who are following me currently. And, they might have 4, 5, 800, 1,000 followers, whatever it is, but they undermine the value of that audience. And you shouldn't do that. If you are not going to value your audience at 400 followers, you're not going to value them at 4,000. And, really work to bring those 400, those 300, those 600 people value. Show them that you care about them, that you're grateful that you're around, and just build that trust with them. It lays the foundation to open the door for a larger audience in the future. And the fourth principle I want to share with you is just don't quit. We see a lot of times that people will quit, 3 to 6 months into their content marketing strategy because they feel like they aren't seeing the traction that they want to see. But the reality is that stuff like this can happen at any time. And these big bumps aren't what it's all about, but it is important to understand that as you are building trust and as you are just staying consistent on that journey, you are like increasing the momentum of that snowball rolling down the hill, right? That content marketing snowball. And as you are building trust, you're making it more likely that people will share your content, engage with it, text it to a friend, send it in a DM, whatever it is, as you're staying consistent. If this organization down in Texas had quit 3 to 6 months in, they likely would not have seen what they just saw happen recently. Their consistency, their willingness to stick it out, even in the small days, led to some really cool things happening for their ministry. So there's the story that I wanted to share with you. This is an example to me of what it looks like to play the long game. We talk about that a lot as well around here. And we just thought it was really cool and wanted to share that story with you. So I hope that kind of starts, bringing to mind some thoughts for your organization, your brand as well. As always, if you want to chat through your brand or want to kind of think through some aspects of where you're headed in your content marketing strategy, we'd love to talk with you. Kelsey and I, have calls scheduled all the time. Most weeks where we just love to sit down, learn about your brand, share some thoughts, all of those things. And you can learn all about all of those things at our website, which is savagecontent.co, savagecontent.co. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I look forward to being right back here with Kelsey for the next one, and we'll see you soon.